Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. So, you finally showed up in person, huh? You finally stepped into the same room, the same space, the same atmosphere as the people who built entire personalities around your absence. Welcome to the moment they've been dreading. Welcome to the collision. Welcome to the exact second their carefully constructed version of you shattered into a million irreparable pieces against the wall of your actual presence. This is going to be uncomfortable for them, not for you. Never for you. Because you've been real this entire time. But them, they've been living in a fantasy novel where they wrote your character, directed your scenes, and casted you as the villain, the fool, the weak one, the one they could predict, control, and diminish from a safe distance. And now you're here, in the flesh, unfiltered, undeniable. And their whole personality just got exposed as a lie. Let's talk about what happens when someone's entire sense of self is built on a false version of you. For months, maybe years, they've told stories. They've crafted narratives. They've whispered to others about who you are, what you're capable of, how you think, how you move, what you lack. They've painted you as smaller than you are, weaker than you are, less than you are. And here's the kicker, they believed it. They genuinely convinced themselves that the distorted reflection they created in their mind was the truth. They needed you to be less so they could be more. They needed you to be the problem so they could be the solution. They needed you to stay in the story they wrote because if you stepped out of it, if you showed up as you actually are, their entire identity collapses. And that's exactly what just happened the second you walked into that room. You didn't even have to say a word. That's the wildest part. Your presence alone dismantled everything. The way you carried yourself, the energy you brought, the calm in your eyes, the confidence in your posture, the unbothered frequency radiating from your core. It wasn't arrogance. It wasn't performance. It was just you. The real you. The one they never actually met because they were too busy interacting with the puppet version they built in their heads. And now they're standing there, face to face with reality. And reality is so far removed from their fiction that they don't even know how to process it. You can see it in their eyes, that flicker of confusion, that moment of recalibration, that silent panic as their brain scrambles to reconcile what they expected with what's actually in front of them. They thought they knew you. They swore they had you figured out. But now they realize they don't know you at all. And that realization is destroying them from the inside out. Because their whole personality was built on being the one who knew better, who saw through you, who had you all figured out. They made themselves feel intelligent by underestimating you. They made themselves feel powerful by diminishing you. They made themselves feel valuable by positioning you as less valuable. Their confidence wasn't rooted in their own strength. It was rooted in your perceived weakness. So, when you show up and that perceived weakness doesn't exist, when you show up and you're sharper, stronger, more composed, more magnetic than they ever allowed themselves to imagine, their foundation crumbles. They're not standing on solid ground anymore. They're free falling. And the worst part for them, everyone else in the room can see it, too. Everyone else can feel the shift. The energy doesn't lie. You became the mirror they never wanted to look into. And mirrors, real mirrors, don't reflect what people want to see. They reflect what actually is. So, when you walked in, you didn't just show up as yourself. You showed up as the truth they spent all that time running from. The truth that they're not as perceptive as they claimed. The truth that they're not as secure as they pretended. The truth that their entire personality was a reaction to a version of you that never existed. They built their whole vibe around being the one who sees through people, but they couldn't even see you clearly. They built their whole identity around being unbothered, but your presence bothered them so deeply they can't even hide it. They talked about being authentic, being real, being unshakable, but the second you entered their space, every fake layer started peeling off like old paint. And now they're exposed. Not by anything you said, not by anything you did, just by you existing in your fullness. Here's what they didn't calculate. They didn't calculate that you've been evolving in silence. They didn't calculate that while they were busy gossiping, assuming, and projecting, you were busy healing, growing, and becoming. They didn't calculate that the version of you they stored in their mental file cabinet was outdated, irrelevant, and built on incomplete information. They thought you were stagnant. They thought you were stuck. They thought you were exactly where they left you in their imagination, but you weren't. You were moving. You were shifting. You were becoming someone they couldn't fathom because they were too distracted by their own narratives to pay attention to your actual journey. So, when you showed up, it wasn't just a surprise. It was a disruption, a system crash, a complete recalibration of everything they thought they understood. And they're not equipped to handle that. You know what's really eating at them right now? It's not just that they were wrong about you. It's that being wrong about you means they might be wrong about themselves. Because if you're not who they said you were, then who are they? If their superiority was based on your inferiority, and your inferiority was a lie, then what does that make them? If they've spent all this time judging you, analyzing you, critiquing you, and they got it all wrong, then maybe, just maybe, they're not as sharp as they thought. Maybe their intuition isn't as accurate as they bragged. Maybe their read on people is actually trash, and that thought, that creeping realization, is tearing them apart because their ego can't survive that level of humility. So, instead of admitting they were wrong, instead of adjusting their perspective, they're scrambling. They're trying to find new flaws. They're trying to rewrite the narrative in real time. They're trying to convince themselves and everyone else that you're just putting on a show, that this isn't the real you, that you're just having a good day. But deep down, they know. They know this is who you've always been. They just refuse to see it. And now, the mask is slipping. Their mask. The one they wore so well when you weren't around. The confidence was a costume. The certainty was a script. The superiority was a shield. And without you playing the role they assigned you, without you being the person they needed you to be to make their personality make sense, that shield is cracking. They're fumbling. They're overcompensating. They're talking louder, laughing harder, trying desperately to reassert the dynamic they thought they controlled, but it's not working because you're not participating. You're not reacting. You're not giving them the role they need you to play. You're just existing calmly, powerfully, authentically. And that quiet refusal to shrink, to perform, to meet their expectations is the most threatening thing you could possibly do. It's not aggression. It's not confrontation. It's just presence. And presence, real presence, dismantles pretense every single time. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about the exact moment their brain broke. It was probably when you smiled. Not a nervous smile. Not a people-pleasing smile. Not a smile seeking approval or validation, but a smile that came from somewhere deep. A smile that reflected contentment. A smile that said, I'm good. I'm whole. I'm at peace with who I am. That smile, that simple, effortless smile was a nuclear bomb to their narrative because they needed you to be struggling. They needed you to be insecure. They needed you to walk in looking for acceptance, for reassurance, for proof that you belong, but you didn't. You walked in like you already knew your worth, like you already claimed your space, like their opinion of you was optional background noise, not a necessity for your self-concept. And that energy, that self-assured, unapologetic energy made them realize something horrifying. You were never the problem. They were. Or maybe it was the way you spoke. Clear, direct, no hesitation, no second-guessing, no people-pleasing detours or verbal gymnastics to avoid confrontation. You said what you meant. You meant what you said. Your words carried weight because they came from a place of truth, not a place of fear. And they weren't ready for that. They expected stammering. They expected defensiveness. They expected you to over-explain, to justify, to seek their approval with every sentence. But you didn't do any of that. You just communicated like an equal. Like someone who doesn't need permission to take up space. And that's when they realized their whole strategy was useless. They can't manipulate clarity. They can't gaslight confidence. They can't twist words that are already rooted in truth. So they sat there, silent, watching you exist outside of their control, and it shook them to their core. Or maybe it was the way others responded to you. Because here's the thing about real energy. It's contagious. It's magnetic. People feel it even if they don't understand it. So when you walked into that room, others gravitated toward you. Not because you were performing. Not because you were trying. But because authenticity has a frequency that people are starving for, and they saw it. They felt it. They wanted to be near it. Meanwhile, the person who spent all this time defining themselves in opposition to you is now watching people choose you. Watching people engage with you. Watching people light up around you. And it's destroying them. Because they thought they were the main character. They thought they were the center of attention. They thought their personality was enough. But it wasn't. It was built on lies, and lies don't have lasting power. The truth does, and you are the truth they can't compete with. Here's what makes your aura criminal. It's not loud. It's not flashy. It's not desperate for validation. Your aura is criminal because it exposes everything fake just by existing. You don't have to call people out. You don't have to argue. You don't have to defend yourself. You just show up. And your presence alone makes liars uncomfortable. Your peace makes chaos look chaotic. Your confidence makes insecurity obvious. Your authenticity makes performance look exhausting. You're not trying to be intimidating. You're not trying to dominate. You're just being you. But just being you in a world full of people pretending to be something they're not is a revolutionary act. It's disruptive. It's threatening. It's criminal in the sense that it breaks every unspoken rule of social performance. You're not playing the game. You're not wearing the mask. You're not dimming your light to make others comfortable. And that makes you dangerous to everyone invested in maintaining the illusion. They built their personality around controlling the narrative. They spent so much time crafting the story, deciding who gets to be the hero and who gets to be the villain, who gets to be powerful and who gets to be weak. And in their story, you were always the latter. You were always the one with the flaw, the problem, the lack. That was your role. That was your script. And they got so comfortable in that story, so secure in that dynamic that they forgot something crucial. Stories aren't real. And the second the real you showed up, the story ended. The curtain dropped. The actors froze. The audience went silent. Because fiction can't survive in the presence of fact. And you, in all your unedited, unfiltered, unapologetic reality, are the fact that just obliterated their fiction. Now they're standing in the ruins of their own delusion, trying to figure out how to rebuild, but they can't. Because you're still there. Still present. Still real. And as long as you exist in your truth, their lies have nowhere to hide. Let me tell you what they're thinking right now. They're thinking, how did I get this so wrong? They're replaying every conversation they had about you. Every assumption they made. Every conclusion they jumped to. And none of it matches what's standing in front of them. They're scanning for cracks. They're looking for evidence that supports their original assessment. They're desperately searching for something, anything, that proves they weren't completely delusional. But they're coming up empty. Because you're not who they said you were. You never were. And the gap between their perception and your reality is so wide, so undeniable, that it's creating cognitive dissonance they can't resolve. Their brain is short-circuiting. Their ego is in crisis mode. And their personality, the one they built on the foundation of misunderstanding you, is crumbling in real time. And you're not even focused on them. That's the part that's driving them insane. They expected you to care. They expected you to notice their discomfort, their recalibration, their silent meltdown. They expected you to be aware of the power shift happening in the room. And maybe you are aware. Maybe you feel it. But you're not feeding it. You're not gloating. You're not rubbing it in. You're not even acknowledging it. You're just living. You're just existing in your truth. You're just being present without ulterior motives. And that indifference, that genuine lack of investment in their opinion, is more devastating than any comeback you could have delivered. Because it confirms what they feared most. You don't need them. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You don't need them to get it. You're complete without their understanding. And that completeness is the most powerful, most threatening, most criminal energy you could possibly carry. They're used to people who need something from them. Attention, approval, acceptance. They're used to people who adjust themselves to fit the room, who shrink to make space, who perform to be liked. That's the game they know how to play. That's the dynamic they know how to control. But you walked in and didn't ask for anything. You didn't seek permission. You didn't wait for a green light. You just existed fully, freely. And that threw off their entire system. Because how do you control someone who doesn't need anything from you? How do you manipulate someone who isn't looking for your validation? How do you dominate someone who isn't competing with you? You can't. And they're realizing that right now. They're realizing they have no leverage, no angle, no way in. You're not playing the game, so they can't win. And if they can't win, their whole identity falls apart. Here's the beautiful, poetic justice of it all. They tried to make you small so they could feel big. But you grew anyway. They tried to define you so they could control you. But you evolved beyond their definitions. They tried to limit you so they could stay ahead. But you transcended their limitations without even trying. You weren't focused on them. You were focused on you. You were healing, learning, growing, becoming. And while they were stuck in the same place, rehearsing the same narratives, you were moving. You were shedding. You were transforming. And now the distance between who they think you are and who you actually are is so vast, so insurmountable, that they can't even pretend to bridge it. They're lost, confused, shaken. And you? You're just getting started. Because here's what they don't realize yet. This moment, this collision between their fiction and your truth, isn't a one-time event. This is the new reality. Every time they see you from now on, it's going to get worse for them. Every time you show up, their discomfort will deepen. Every time you exist in your fullness, their inadequacy will become more obvious. Not because you're trying to make them feel inadequate, but because they built their identity on a lie. And lies can't coexist with truth. One has to die. And it's not going to be the truth. So, they're going to have to watch over and over again as the person they thought they knew continues to prove them wrong. They're going to have to sit with the reality that they never actually knew you at all. And that's going to haunt them. That's going to eat at them. That's going to keep them up at night. Because being wrong about you means they can't trust their own judgment. And if they can't trust their own judgment, who are they? Let's talk about the ripple effect. Because this isn't just about them. This is about everyone who believed them. Everyone who took their word as fact. Everyone who absorbed their version of you without question. Those people are watching, too. And they're seeing the disconnect. They're noticing that the person standing in front of them doesn't match the description they were given. And that's creating doubt. Not just doubt about you. Doubt about the person who described you. If they were this wrong about you, what else are they wrong about? If their perception was this distorted, how accurate are their other assessments? The credibility they built by confidently misrepresenting you is now collapsing. And the people who once trusted their judgment are starting to question everything. That's the cost of building your personality on lies. Eventually, the truth exposes you. And once you're exposed, you can't unexpose yourself. The damage is done. The trust is broken. The illusion is shattered. And you didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to defend yourself. You didn't have to argue your case. You didn't have to prove them wrong. You just had to show up. That's it. Just show up as yourself. And reality did the rest. Because truth doesn't need a defense. Truth doesn't need an explanation. Truth doesn't need to be loud or aggressive or forceful. Truth just is. And when truth walks into a room full of lies, the lies suffocate. They can't breathe. They can't survive. They dissolve on contact. And that's exactly what happened. The second you entered that space, the lies they built around you started dying. And there's nothing they can do to resuscitate them. The truth is out. The real you is visible. And there's no going back. Now, let's talk about what happens next. Because this moment, as powerful as it is just the beginning. They're going to try to recover. They're going to try to salvage their image. They're going to try to rewrite the narrative again. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're different now. They'll try to frame it like they were right about the old you and this new you is just a recent development. But that's another lie. You didn't change. You've always been this. They just never saw it. They were too busy projecting, assuming, and filling in blanks with their own insecurities to actually see you. So, when they say you've changed, what they really mean is, I was wrong, but I can't admit it, so I'm going to pretend this is new information. Don't let them rewrite history. Don't let them off the hook that easily. Their misperception isn't your responsibility to manage. Their discomfort isn't your problem to solve. Let them sit in it. Let them marinate in the consequences of their own delusion. And here's the part that's going to frustrate them the most. You're going to keep moving. You're going to keep growing. You're going to keep showing up as your authentic self.